Hello, welcome to How to Succeed in Business During a Pandemic. Hi, I'm Wendy Lally, your host, and I'm delighted that you could join us today. The show is based on a very simple premise. What we do is interview interesting entrepreneurs and professionals who are not only surviving this challenging time of COVID-19, but are actually thriving. And we thought that interviewing them and finding out what they're doing to be successful could help other people. In my own business, I'm a marketing copywriter. So I interview people all the time, find out what they're doing, who they want to reach, how I can help them get new customers. And I'm kind of doing the same thing here, except that I'm doing it through the medium of Zoom interview with highly successful people. And today we have a very interesting lady. Her name is Sandy Emerson. She has her own law firm, and she is going to talk to us about being a professional in this time of, I don't know even what to call it, shutting down and staying in, and how that's affected her business and the business of her clients. Welcome, Sandy. I'm delighted that you could join us.
Thank you so much for inviting me, Wendy. I'm pleased to be here.
So why don't you tell people a little bit about your background, how you became a lawyer, what kind of law you practice, and why you have your own firm?
Oh, absolutely. I actually grew up in a small town in Georgia and South Carolina before that. And in those towns, there were no large law firms. It was just small law firms or sometimes sole practitioners. And they would be the family lawyer, and they would help families through good times and bad, helping them buy homes, helping them if they were in an auto accident. Anytime you needed your family lawyer, the family lawyer was there for you. And it was something I really admired. I loved the local attorneys. They were all great folks. And I thought I'd really like to do that. I'd like to be there for a family, become part of their family, if you will, and help them. And so I decided to go to law school, always with the idea that I would have my own practice, which is what I eventually did.
Like Matlock. That's what.
Yes, exactly. And actually, I believe Matlock was in Georgia, and that's where I was.
Tell me something. Did you ever consider doing criminal law?
Oh, no, absolutely not. I'm not interested in criminal law at all, I'm afraid. I just had this view that I would be a family lawyer, and I do very much enjoy helping families when they need me.
But I know you specialize in real estate law. How did that come about?
I started out in real estate law when I started my own practice. So I initially started working for a couple of larger firms. And after that, of course, again, I wanted to work with individuals, I wanted to work with families. So I said, I want to do something where I'm helping people. And real estate was such a nice fit for me. I really like the idea of helping people realize the American dream and purchase a home of their own. It's so incredibly personal. And it was just a fabulous fit. I started out doing a couple closings at my previous law firm, and I just loved it. And I knew that's what I wanted to do.
Some advice that you'd like to give people, to homeowners during this time of the pandemic, that they can do to uh, kind of ensure that they keep their home. If, for example, someone loses their job and they aren't able, the rent payment is, or the mortgage payment is really a problem. And they're not sure when the next job is coming. Are there any programs they can apply for, or is there any way that you could help them negotiate a lower mortgage with the bank in some way?
We don't actually do that, but the good news is right now there is relief for all federally backed mortgages or government sponsored enterprise, which means Fannie or Freddie. So if you've got an FHA mortgage, you've got Fannie or Freddie, there is relief under the CARES Act. And the CARES Act stands for the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act. And they provide two protections under that act for homeowners. And one is the lender or loan servicer cannot foreclose until at least December 31st, 2020. So right now they cannot foreclose. In addition to that, if you're experiencing a financial hardship due to the pandemic, you have the right as a homeowner to obtain forbearance for up to 180 days. And you can request an extension at the end of that period for another 180 days for a total of 360 days. It's actually a very simple process. It's just a form. You just explain that you were affected by the pandemic and that you would like to go into forbearance. And that means the mortgage payments will stop. At the end of the forbearance period, if you do have a federal mortgage or a GSE, again, a Fannie or Freddie mortgage, you'll be able to take that arrearage and get a loan modification. You can put it to the back of the loan and you can pay it back over time. Now, that's not every mortgage, though. I do want to clarify that. The CARES Act mortgage forbearance is only for these federal or GSE mortgages. So if you have a mortgage from a private bank, those relief options are not set by law. However, I will say that many of the private banks are still extending that type of relief. And the reason why they are is because obviously they're being prevented from foreclosing until December 31st, 2020. So I think they feel like they don't have a choice. You might as well just give the homeowners the forbearance for the time being. And I do have information on how to, I don't know if I would put it in a chat or what have you, but I do have information on that. I'm happy to provide. There's a website that I guide clients to, and I tell them to go ahead and apply for that. And it's totally free. But the CFPB, which is our Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, they actually lay it out on their website and they explain how to do that.
Well, we'll definitely put a card up at the end of this so people can look at that. I wanted to ask you too, because this program really, your program, hopefully will be seen by other lawyers and who maybe are not doing as well as you are and want some insight on building a practice. And how did you get started? How, did you have help? Did you join with another lawyer who had a practice already? How did that happen? And how have you been building this up over the years? I'm thinking in terms of networking and that kind and referrals and that sort of thing.
Oh, that's a great question. So when I started my practice, I was in my 20s. And I am not from here, as I mentioned to you before. I grew up down south, so I'm not from the Chicago area at all. So it was a big, bold move to start my own practice. And I had some friends and classmates who actually laughed at me when I said I'd be starting a practice. They thought I was literally insane. So how did I do it? I actually went to some attorneys that were very successful already. And I said to them, I'm looking for work. I would like to do some work for you and I would like to establish myself. So the first couple of years of my practice, I worked for other attorneys. I had I had my own practice, but I worked for them on a contract basis and they were fantastic. They offered me office space. They took me under their wing. One local attorney had a bunch of closings he was doing for a condo conversion project. And he said, I would love it if you helped me with all 24 of these closings. So it was a real trial by fire, but it was just great experience. And I really owe my success in the early years to these fantastic people who were willing to help me get established. And then once I'd been practicing for a little while, I had a reputation and people would come back to me for something else. And then word of mouth spread, and before you knew it, I became very, very busy and I had to get other lawyers to join me.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that many people, especially professionals, uh, don't truly understand and value, which is connecting with other professionals, even though you seem to be in competition, but you can also support each other and give each other if you have, like, for example, I've had writing assignments where I've just been overloaded, and God bless the other writers that I know, because I'm able to pass work on and still, do what I have to do for my client. But I'm not buried, and I'm actually able to fulfill my clients' wishes. So it's
Absolutely. You can't do everything yourself. And I find that what buries a lot of people is they want to do everything themselves. They want all the business for themselves. They don't want to share with other attorneys or other professionals. I'm always eager to share resources and advice with lawyers. I've been approached by a number of young lawyers through the years seeking my mentorship, and I've never turned a single one of them away. There's definitely a good feeling of helping others, and you never know, they might be able to help you too down the road.
That's a really good point too. And I too, I love mentoring younger people, and because they're the future, not only their own future, they're my future too, possibly. So, uh, I enjoy it. It's always fun to share what you know, and usually, in fact, almost always, probably always, I've learned as much as I've taught because there is that exchange of information.
Exactly. And also, it's nice that I'm helping other clients. So if I help a young attorney, I explain to them about this CARES Act mortgage forbearance, for example, and then they spread the word to someone else. Well, then I'm helping more clients. It's helping me have a better reach because that's what I'm trying to do is help people. That's what I live for. And so if I withhold my knowledge, then people can't get it. And there's only so much I can do. So I enjoy passing out this information and letting people know.
Cindy and I are both members of a wonderful organization called BNI, and it's a networking referral group, and the mantra of BNI is givers gain. So we're really steeped in this kind of altruistic mindset, but honestly, for success in business, I don't think anything beats it. It really does help to help other people. And I think we both buy into that wholeheartedly.
Absolutely. There's so much benefit. I actually called another member of the group, Mark Fritch, the loan officer, this morning with a question of what someone would need to do to get a mortgage. And he was able to answer the question right away. And it's just so wonderful to have that resource available, to know that there's people that you can talk to and answer a quick question so that I can get that information back to my clients.
I always think of it as someone once described networking as a kind of a system of brownie points, where if you help someone, you get a brownie point, and you get 2 brownie points if you connect someone to someone else, because then they both think you're super clever and kind of owe you a favor back. And the thing with those favors is that you may not collect them immediately, but eventually you will. And somehow it always seems to me that the help comes just at the moment I need it the most, and don't expect it from a quarter that I've helped in the past and has come back to help me. So I hope you'll all keep that in mind, and also keep BNI in mind. It's a wonderful organization, and I really highly recommend it. They're all over. Just put in BNI into your Google search, and I'm sure you'll come up with a group near you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it is a wonderful group, isn't it? And we really thoroughly enjoy the group of people that we meet with every week. I'm going to have to say goodbye because we're reached our time here, but I want to thank you for coming. And it's just, as always, I always enjoy talking with you, and I always learn something new, and I hope all of you have done as well. Next week, we're going to have another interesting entrepreneur or professional, or someone who's an entrepreneurial professional that will come and talk to us about how to succeed in business during a pandemic. Until then, please stay in and stay well.
Thank you so much, Wendy.
Oh, thank you, Sandy. We'll see you soon.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.